What's happening, guys? It's Sid with svtperformance.com, and as you can see, we're in the Mach-E 2021 model. This is a pre-production, first edition. Very nice car. We want to take it for a ride. So let's get started. Put this thing into drive. I would say put it into gear, but there are no gears. There's no transmission in this thing. Oh, before we do that, take off here. Let's put it back into park. Let's go ahead and just neutral rev it a little bit, and nothing happens. That's a weird sensation. Go ahead, put it in drive. Check this out. So we're over here at a substation, which is appropriate for this car. Get its power from there. At the end of the substation, 2 cornfields. So you got an E85 Mustang. Got that going for you too. Wait for the traffic to clear here just a little bit. Get out on the road. I have no idea where I'm going today. And here's something you got to get used to. This thing is silent. And I do mean just silent. It's not only is there very little road noise, there's basically no noise from the electric motors. I mean, it's just what you're hearing is the fan on the air conditioning. Very, very quiet vehicle inside. And here's the thing that's going to be surprising to a lot of people. We're cruising right along now at 45 miles an hour, and if I stomp it, there's 68. This thing is a rocket ship, and this is not even the GT version. This is just your standard run-of-the-mill Mach-E. It does have the upgraded battery pack, which is nice, and it's all-wheel drive. But when the GT performance model hits, damn. I mean, it's a second faster 0 to 60 than this thing is. It actually might be more than a second faster. I think this one's 3.8, or no, sorry, 4.8. And the GT Performance is supposed to be like 3.5. So that thing is going to be well into the 12-second range in a quarter mile time. We had this one out of the track running 13.6s, so that's going to be something special. Speaking of something special, this thing drives better than any Ford car that I've ever been in. This has the best steering that I've ever felt in any Ford, bar none. It is rock solid feeling. They nailed this thing perfectly. I mean, really, really good. Got a couple bicyclists up here. You can probably sneak up on them because it is dead silent on the outside. Just get past them here. Nice safe pass. More cornfields for you E85 guys. So what's this thing like to drive? It's unlike any gasoline car you've ever been in. That's all I can say about it. It's quiet. You do have propulsion sound if you want to turn that on. We'll play with that just in a second around this turn. We'll actually kick it on right now. And it starts to pump in some fake engine sounds through the audio system. Got a little bridge coming up here. So here, let me turn it off and let's accelerate again, and then I'll turn it on and then let's accelerate. See if you guys can hear the difference, see if the speakers pick it up. So accelerating without it. You can hear like electric sounds a little bit, electric motor sounds, but that's pretty much it. All right, slow down and turn it on. Do it again. There's your fake engine sounds. Honestly, I prefer it without it because I'm not a huge fan of fake anything. You know, even your lopey cam tunes, I'm not a huge fan of that. I just want it to be what it is. And I would rather enjoy this car for what it is, which is it's electric. And it should be quiet and extremely torquey, and it is. Like I've said previously, if you've seen any other videos, and if you haven't, please check them out. They're in a whole playlist, and they're all posted over at svtperformance.com. The link's in the description below for that. And if you have any questions about this thing, post it over there. That way, it's there forever, and for anyone who wants to see it. Don't really answer questions in the YouTube comments section because it's just hard to keep track of all that stuff. But it's posted on SVTP, especially in our article on this particular car. I'll answer it for you, or I'll do my best to answer it for you, or find somebody who knows what they're talking about. They can answer it for you, but we'll do what we can. But man, is this thing ever good. I would not have thought I would like this thing as much as I do. I mean, so it's a secret. I've never told anybody this, but I do have several electric powered Fords that I've never shown any of you guys on the channel or even anybody on SVTP. And I may end up doing a build of one of those later on this fall because it needs new batteries. But if you can figure that one out, go ahead and let me know. But man, this thing, it's rock solid. You would think the 300-mile battery range would be an issue, but I've been driving it around. I took it we rode it out to Darlington and back from Myrtle Beach. I mean, that's 100 miles each way, and we drag raced it while we were there. Now, granted, we did charge it a little bit with the hybrid F-150, but not a lot, maybe an hour of charging in total. So that would have added like 30 miles to the range. But this thing had no problem at all. That was 200 miles, subtract that to 170 miles. You know, that's go to the track and back, a little over half the battery life. And man, it's fine. Granted, I would like to have, say, a 500-mile range on it. But, you know, maybe the technology is just not there yet, or it's too bulky. Who knows what it may be, or maybe they just want to sell you something better in the future. Who knows? But for right now, this is pretty good. Speaking of bulky technology, any guesses on what this thing tips the scale at? If you want to say the 2.5 ton club, you're pretty much there. Test weight on this thing's 4,800 pounds. Yikes. Yeah, it's heavy. You know, it's all-wheel drive. It has 2 big electric motors. It has a big battery pack. It's made of steel. You know, it's not going to be lightweight. It's just not. And sadly, that's probably where your performance mods are going to be in this thing for a while, is just pulling weight out of them, because who knows how you're going to tune these. I'm sure if it can be done, HP tuners will figure out a way to do it, or Diablo, Holly, one of those guys will. But I looked around, I didn't see an OBD2 port anywhere, so you're not just going to plug in that way, but I'm sure there's an access port somewhere. But how does it handle the twisties and stuff? You would be extremely surprised. That's all I can say. It's just very, very poised. And the problem I have with it is it's deceptively fast, because you don't have any engine noise and it's very well insulated. You don't get a lot of road noise. You don't realize how fast you're going in this thing. And it's easy to think you're doing 50 and look down and you're doing 70. I mean, we're doing 55 here and it feels like I'm doing 35. So you just, whatever you think you're doing, add 20 miles per hour and that's probably closer to what's actually going on. That, I love that about it. It's just perfect for its intended purpose, which is, to me, a great commuter car, go to work in, that's still fun to drive. And you don't have the downsides of, you know, it being difficult to get in and out of. You know, it's not really an SUV. I would not consider this thing an SUV. To me, the closest thing it reminds me of, and it's not really a car either, because it's too tall. The greenhouse is too tall and the seating position is more like an SUV. What it really reminds me of is that mid-2000s Ford 500 that they brought out to replace the Taurus. That eventually, that thing, they renamed it Taurus when Alan Mulally came into Ford. But if you remember that, it was a car, but it's like real bubbly. It almost looked like a Fisher-Price car or something like that, like a toy. And it sat up high, and it was really easy to get in and out of. And I guess they were trying to appeal to older people who don't want to crawl in and out of, you know, a low-slung car. They want something just easy to get in and out of without having to climb up into an SUV. That's what this reminds me of. It's sort of a high-riding car. You're in a high position in it. You ride like it's in an SUV. It's not like a Mustang where you're down in and looking over the hood so much. So it's sort of a weird quasi vehicle. It doesn't really fit in any category. I guess the closest thing you could call it is a crossover. That's probably what Ford would call it. But it works. I mean, you're not going to take this thing off-road. I think a Ford Edge like has 2 more inches of ground clearance than this thing does. So it's not intended for that. I would say the all-wheel drive equipment in this thing is designed for just helping with slick roads and to keep traction, because in the GT version, trust me, you're going to need it with 630 pound-feet of torque available at 0 RPMs, you'll want that all-wheel drive. And it works, man. It does not slip a tire at all. You turn traction control off and it just grips and goes. It's really, really tuned in well. And I mean, you can just push it out of a turn like that. And that was 70 miles an hour. Went from 45 to 70 in less than 2 seconds. I mean, this thing is just, it's insanity. And you can push it. Like I said in another video, the tires are kind of narrow, but they work really well. They're quiet, they're comfortable, they have good grip. I wouldn't say they have the greatest grip in the world, but they're not bad. Got a stop sign here. Yeah, local honey. If you guys are ever traveling back roads like this, stop and patron people like this. Guy has his own farm out here selling his own produce. Always a great thing to do. You know, I've never been a huge fan of electric cars. I'm just not. And you can throw every anti-electric car trope out there. At some point or another, I've probably said it. They have no soul, this or that, or inconvenient, or actually worse for the environment, blah, 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 than a gas-powered vehicle, which is probably true. I can probably drive, you know, a 1984 F-150 with a 300 inline six and a single-barrel Cardinal carburetor until the end of time and it not pollute as much as building one brand new vehicle, let alone an electric vehicle. That's just science. But this thing is way better than you think it's going to be. That's all I can say about it. If you have never driven an electric vehicle, you should really try one of these out. I mean, you will probably be very surprised how much you like it. My wife was a perfect example. She thought this was the dumbest idea Ford had ever had until she drove it to Darlington, to the drag strip, and raced it. And she's hooked now. And I have to say I am too. I don't think I would go out and buy one of these right now, but I was in the market for something like this because a daily driver that's fun and comfortable, it's an option. That's all I can say is you should consider it. At least consider this. And I realize what's the big thing we all have to get over on this, and that's the name. None of us Ford faithful who've been with Ford for years and years want to call this a Mustang. And I can go on forever why it shouldn't be, because it's not. I mean, a Mustang has 2 doors and is rear-wheel drive. That's not what this is. But that's what the marketing department has decided was a good idea. They want to ride the coattails of the Mustang brand instead of coming up with something new to call this, which they should have called me. I've got 15 ideas that would be better than calling it a Mustang. It would be unique and new and special and give you an opportunity to build on something rather than ride the success of previous generations. But that takes work, so let's just call it Mustang. All right, let's move beyond that. It's still a very, very good car. And I mean very good. So if we can get over that, I think we can all move on and really enjoy this thing for what it is, and that is a surprisingly quick, very comfortable, very quiet, very economical car that you can just run around in. I mean, what's not to love other than the sticker price, which is another thing. This one I think is $65,000. A GT performance model is probably going to be about the same, if not more. So that's a hard pill to swallow, even with the $7,500 federal taxpayer paid tax credit that you can get. That's a hard pill to swallow. But then again, we're in the world of $100,000 carbon fiber equipped GT500 Mustangs now, and $100,000+ Super Duties. Stuff's expensive, and it's probably not going down anytime soon. So these are facts and things we have to deal with. You know what helps you deal with that? Giving a little right foot pedal blast on your Mach-E. We're pulling into town here, cruising through downtown Loris, South Carolina. You guys has never been here. Just one of these little small back roads. South Carolina towns are all over the South. This one still has some life left in it, due in large part to its proximity to Myrtle Beach. But I think, let's see, we're here at Highway 9. Let's just spin it around and go back out the back roads. Now check this out. When's the last time one of you guys saw a Western Auto? So let's just finish this video off right with some full throttle blasts around some turns and some general hooning. God dang, this thing's quick. And 49 to 65 right there. I mean, it just pins you back in the seat, launches. This thing is nuts. And it's way more fun than it should be. It's doing a slow it down here and throttle. Yeah, that was 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds or so. Well, not quite 0. It was about 8 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. But man, it's just a blast, and you know, that's not helping the battery life. But then again, we were getting about 1% taken off per quarter-mile run. And check out, I mean, it just right around a turn. And grip for days, and smooth and perfect steering and really good brakes, and everything just works on it. I wouldn't call it a performance car, but it is definitely capable of performing. I guess that's the best way to put it. I think I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, what else can you say other than that? I mean, it's silent. It's like a silent hammer, I guess you would say. It just blasts you into hyperspace, pretty much. Just so, it's just refreshingly different. It doesn't feel like the sensation of speed you would get in a GT500, which is just unending power, but still controlled by electronic driver's aids and things like that. And it's not the sensation of speed you get from a 400 horsepower Fox body where it essentially wants to kill you, but everything is just so on the ragged edge of what that car was ever designed to do that it feels exhilarating. This is extremely confident in the way it handles, the way it brakes, the way it steers, the way it accelerates. Everything about it is just tuned to perfection for what it could be in this particular version. Now, when you pour the coal to it and get the GT Performance version of it with 200 plus more pound-feet of torque, that's going to be another story. I'm going to be really interested to see if it'll actually break the tires loose, because this one doesn't. Brake torque it, do everything, and I'm not sure if it is just the electronic nannies kicking in and won't let it do it even with traction control off, or it's just the way it's set up. Who knows? But I'm really interested in trying that higher horsepower version of it. And till then, you may not think you're going to like electric cars, but give one a shot. That being said, I think I'm going to go stock up on Holley 4-barrel carburetors and MSD ignitions, and still have my fun with the gasoline stuff while we can. Hey, maybe give me an E85 carburetor. That'll be even better. But until next time, definitely head over to svtperformance.com and check out our full article on this. And like I said, if you guys have any questions about this particular vehicle, please post them over there. That way I'll at least have a shot of answering them, because I can't really do it in the comment sections on YouTube. I just can't keep up with it. So until next time, head over there for all the latest news, reviews, and information on your favorite Ford-powered vehicles and your favorite electric-powered Fords. I don't know. It's surprising. Maybe you'll like it. give it a shot. That's all I can say. I didn't think I would, and here I am enjoying this thing. But I do get a Mach 1 next, so I think I'll enjoy that even more. All right, we'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel. Please subscribe, all that stuff. Head over to SVT Performance, and we'll see you later on. Thanks. Got one quick note. I did manage to get the tires to break loose on it. If you go full throttle out of a tight turn, she'll come loose, which is, it's fun. It's controllable. You can keep in it. Don't have to worry about flying off the road or anything. So just a note, if you guys looking to really push this car more than average person would, it'll take it.